So here's her left foot. I didn't notice this so clearly before. And what she's doing is pulling her left leg from stretched out up toward her to bend her knee up against the tree. You can make that out. Here's me doing the same thing today from a slightly different angle because the same angle was too obstructed by foliage and my tripod wasn't high enough to see over it. There's a little moon shadow that sort of skitters across the scene onto the tree briefly, and that's all that is. Now, if you don't think this is her left leg pulling in, then what would you think it is on a porcupine? There's only two choices, the tail and a hind leg. A porcupine's tail is only just a little bit longer than the thickness of this tree, so it certainly couldn't be that. And porcupines' hind legs are even shorter than their tails. So there's absolutely nothing else it could be. And when you see it in context of all the other factors, you see that it's a long primate leg. The tree being 8 inches in diameter, we can estimate her leg at something like 2 feet. Now, once she gets into her crouch, her right leg is still down. You can see it here. And then she pulls it up so that she's ready for the smooth ascent. So we've seen the left leg pulling in and bending at the knee, and now we see the right leg lifting. It's not terribly clear, but we can see this same too long leg fact reflected here and then again here. As she's climbing higher up the tree, we've seen that she briefly reaches out with her left hand to grab for a hold. Something I've just been able to isolate is this. It's fuzzy, sure, but you can definitely make out at least 2 thick fingers on this catcher's mitt of a hand. Now, this next part has been a real sticking point for a lot of people. They seem to see a tail hanging down. Of course, we've established that there's no tail down below, so there could not be a tail, logically, up here either. But just to try to explain it better than I have before, you know, when you're climbing a tree and you're using one leg, sometimes the other leg just kind of hangs there. This is what's going on here. And the effect is strange because it's not only hanging there, but the moonlight is illuminating most, but not all of it. However, we can plainly see that it bends at the knee, and this bend produces a sharp angle, characteristic of a knee bend, but not characteristic of a thick porcupine tail, which doesn't bend at all in the middle or at any point. In fact, the North American porcupine is the only one of the 14 worldwide species of porcupine that does not have a prehensile tail, so its only muscle movement is in the base of the tail. We can even make out what is called the popliteal fossa, or more colloquially, it's known as the knee pit, like the armpit, but the knee pit. So this is what you see in that hanging leg. You out there in the porcupine crowd? Really? And you accuse me of stretching to see what's not there? This next discovery really kind of took me aback. I should have done it weeks ago. It might have cleared up a lot of confusion. Regardless of how thick this 8-inch tree is, we can just look at the number of units that make up the subject of the video versus how many units make me up. And here's what startles me. The number of units are actually fewer for me. It's a little under 6 for the subject and more like 5.5 for me. Now, I don't know if I was crouching down farther than she was, and if my legs are longer than her legs. I'm 6'1", so it's anybody's guess exactly how tall she is. Somewhere between 5.5 and my height. Now, this 7-second sequence near the end of my footage, I've always suspected was her head, but I never thought that any further detail could be extracted from it. I thought it was just opaque in the shadow. But I have managed to see more. Even in this very short sequence, we can see her bobbing her head around, kind of cocking it back and forth to, I now realize, try to get a better angle on me down below. There are various frames where her left eye is visible. Some where it's more shut. Others where it's wide open. And here you can make out clearly the pronounced brow ridge, and it rang a bell for me, so I looked up these extinct members of our own genus. And here you have on the left Homo heidelbergensis, and on the right our own species. You can see that not only is the brow ridge very pronounced, but it curves down in the middle. And here is Neanderthal on the left. The same curvature. This frame was found and clarified by my friend Chuck Gonzalez. You can even see the perfectly round iris. You can search throughout these images and not find another place where there's a circle this well defined.